I'm a West Coast guy. I like that dry heat, maybe even the desert. It's volatile. It's like going to Cancun or the mine. Like you know, when it rained the one day, and you have to have your head on a swivel. You got to know where you're going, what you're doing down there.
Yeah, these rain showers, man, they can come out of nowhere. It can just be a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden it just comes down and rains for 15 minutes just hard in one simple little spot, nowhere else, and it just so happens to be the spot that you're in. So the Florida weather is crazy, but I'll take it any day over that minus 39. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that goes without saying. Do you like the humidity?
I don't. I hate humidity. It's just something about that. The humid air that just makes me break out in the sweat instantly. I would much rather take, that West Coast dry 30, 35 degrees than, a very humid 25, 30 degrees any day.
My wife and I both have, and the kids, we have thick curly hair. So you know what humidity does to thick. I know both of you guys are follically challenged, but yeah, thick. It's not good. Okay, so here's the other thing, Darian. How old are your kids, Darian?
7, 5, and 3.
Okay, and Maz, have you guys heard of Raising Cane's?
Like the chicken finger place? Yeah.
Yeah.
All they serve is chicken fingers. They're awesome.
No,
that's it. That's all the whole menu. Chicken fingers.
It's a hard okay. It's the sauce.
Yeah.
So Darian, I don't know. They've targeted the kids on TikTok and all these social medias somehow, because it was like Disney World, okay, but right underneath Disney World, my daughter needed to go to Raising Cane to have these sauce and the chicken fingers. And then I'm starting to see all these other kids. Like they have targeted and created this brand where I don't even know how to explain it. And they're lined up like crazy.
See, I think they just take advantage of Raising Cane's only being in specific parts of the states, right? So if you're not from this area and you hear all this advertising about it, then you all of a sudden you just have to try it, right? So they do a great job of just tapping into communities and people who are from areas where they've never heard of it, and they're just interested in let's go to an area where Raising Cane's is. Let's go to Disney World. Let's just go try it, and they get you to buy into it, and then more times than not you're disappointed because, like you said, they're very mediocre. It's not anything that I've been once and I haven't been back. It's just not that good.
You know what's not mediocre, and we found it. It was literally a kilometer and a half from our resort, and as soon as I saw that sign, I was like, everything is off tomorrow. 11 o'clock, we are going to the Waffle House. If no one's ever been to a Waffle House, it sticks to your ribs. You basically can eat once for the whole entire day. Isn't that right? What do you mean, Maz? What do you mean, no?
Okay, so if there's in the world of diner-esque type things like Denny's, IHOP, Waffle House, like all of those style of restaurants, having eaten at those, I'm sorry, but Waffle House is going at the bottom. For the quality of food. And the other thing, too, is, and we're from Saskatchewan, it's not like we dine at 5-star Michelin restaurants, but sometimes Waffle House, Darian, you can probably attest, is a little bit of the Wild West as far as the crowd.
It depends on what area you're in, but there are some very clean, very good cooks at some Waffle Houses around the U.S., and it just depends on the one you get and the one you go to, because you can't see, that's the thing about Waffle House. You can't put them all in one category because it's just so different depending on the area you're in.
If people have never been to a Waffle House, it is a lot like the old Kresge's and Woolworths cafeteria meets a country kitchen, Maz, back in the day. You know, in Manitoba, they got the Salisbury houses. That's very close. All day breakfast. And you sit down, and it's funny because it's like you got to have the waffles are so good. And then my wife ordered something with a waffle. Son ordered something with a waffle. Daughter did. And they're like, Dad, you're not getting a waffle? And I'm like, watch how much waffle is left after everybody is done eating. And sure enough, I flew in there like a pigeon pecking away at the end of it all. It was, and the other one's Jersey Mike's. Like Jersey Mike's was across the street from our resort. Like game over.
Yeah, now that's legit. Now Jersey Mike's, it doesn't matter. That's legit, man. One of the best sub franchises out there. Seriously.
But on the Waffle House front, Darian, in Orlando, where it's kind of cool for tourists, that's one thing. But if you're just
Yeah.
off the interstate and you just stayed the night at a Motel 6 because you're from Saskatchewan and that's what your parents think is a nice hotel, and the Waffle House is in the same parking lot and the
Yeah.
interstate is roaring by, that's the Waffle House I'm talking about, not the overpriced one in Orlando for
But
tourists
that's
like
the one
Barney.
that's the one you
Yeah.
have to pass up. You don't stop at that.
Yeah, well, no, we didn't because it's right next to the Motel 6 in Corsicana, Texas. All right?
Yeah.
Because we stay in motor lodges. We don't stay in anything that has an elevator.
You guys had a chance to chat last week about a number of things on the program. It's Darian Durant and a double talk with Darian for Campbell Safety Consulting. The one thing I wanted to talk about, and Justin Dunk and the 3 Down Nation crew came out with this, on what the new acquisitions for the Saskatchewan Roughriders are getting paid this year. And again, I'm no CFL GM. I don't know anyone that is, personally, that I have on speed dial. I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking there's some good value here. And I was the one that I want to start with the guys, and go to you, Darian, first, and then Maz to you. I was really curious on Tavon Campbell and what he would fetch. How much would he be worth? What would he want to play for? He's Canadian. He's from here. He's 153,000. And people are going to hear when we talk to Justin Dunk. We had an hour one. We're going to play it again. Justin Dunk goes to Ford. He was in the early 200,000s. Campbell comes at great value, Darian, doesn't he?
Absolutely. And I think, that's sort of a hometown discount. That's some familiarity there that, Tavon has with the organization and with JO. And, I'm not sure how much information gets out there, but I'm sure that he has some incentive-based payments in that contract as well that'll take care of him and put him up there in the upper echelon of corners if he has that type of production. But as far as base salary goes, this is a steal, especially if he still has some of the juice. I mean, he hasn't been injured, nothing major. And like I said, a couple weeks ago, he's always been fast, right? So I don't see him losing much speed. So if he can come in and he still has some juice left in the tank, I think this is a steal sign for JO and the Riders.
Darian, did you like when stuff, whether it was true or not, did you like when your salary would be published or when players' salaries would be out there? Does that make you uncomfortable? Like, would people bring that up in front of you, especially if things weren't going well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just, I think you learn over time that it just comes with the territory. Me being a quarterback, it's a little bit different because, we would make, if you look at it from the big pictures, we would make so much more than the other guys. So it's a little bit different for us. But, you get used to it and, you try to go out there and make sure that you go and you produce on the field because especially in a place like Saskatchewan, they'll let you know in the middle of the second quarter how much you're making. We don't pay you all of that for you to go out there and throw interceptions. So, but I mean, it just comes with the game and that's how it is. And, especially with the nature of social media and how everything gets out nowadays, it just comes with the territory.
What would you guys, I'll go around the horn again, too. What would you guys have thought Jake Mayer was worth? First, Maz, let's go to you first.
Because of the garbage season that he had, I would have thought nobody would have paid him. Because I knew last year he wasn't getting starter money in Calgary. I figured, and after a bad year where he got blamed for everything, I was like maybe 120 grand, which seems crazy low for a quarterback. But it seemed to fall off the cliff for him, where he was getting blamed for everything in Calgary, even bad attendance, which he has nothing to do with. So, like I don't know, but he was sure a scapegoat, and I didn't think he would have much leverage.
Darian, what would you have thought he would have been worth after coming off what happened in Calgary and coming here, where we needed a guy like that, though, as a two?
Yeah. I think, the base salary for most veteran backup quarterbacks is somewhere between 150 and 175, somewhere there. And I'm sure his incentives, if he plays a certain amount of games or a certain amount of snaps, will put him in the 250, 300 range. So, I'm thinking that I think standard backup veteran guy who has had some CFL production will be in the, 150, 175 range.
Have you, when you were playing, did you ever have the situation arise where somebody on your team, maybe it was you or maybe a teammate on your team, was close to a bonus and you guys you're either trying to get him to get that bonus or,
Oh, for sure. I mean, there have been plenty of times we're going into game 16 or 17 knowing that Getz may need 47 yards or, Alex Hall may need a sack or John Chick may need 1.5 sacks to hit an incentive. So we're always nudging the coach to, let this guy play or let's get the ball to these guys because, they deserve their money. I mean, it's a bad thing when you get into that last game of the season and you're 10, 15 yards away from maybe a $10,000, $15,000 bonus. And it's just nerve wracking. So, yeah, we would try to definitely go into the game and make that happen. And guys would talk about it in the locker room for sure.
The other thing is, Maz, you hear it in hockey once in a while where there's the coach that goes the other way and doesn't play the guy or, he needs the bonus. Did you ever see any of that, Darian, where you ran into one of those?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I've seen that as well. And I won't put any names on the head coach who did that, but, it was definitely something that, especially us veteran guys, we lost respect for the coach because of that. That's just something you don't do, especially as a coach, unless he's getting if he's getting, the word from up top, make sure this guy doesn't get it or we can't go over the cap in this certain situation. But I don't think it's like, this is guys' livelihoods, man. And, trust me, we lost all respect for the coach who did that to one of our guys.
So what in the last 45 seconds, Darian has inspired a lot of us in Rider Nation, including me, to Google all the head coaches he played for. And then by a process of elimination, we're going to have this figured out within about 90 seconds.
No.
So if somebody wants to text him.
I still have good relationships with all the coaches that I've played for.
Oh,
but,
okay.
there are situations where we're like, they're long lost sons, and so to speak. So we do get upset at coaches from time to time, but that was just something messed up that our so-called dad did at the time.
Aww.
That's
We're debunking the mysteries of the Riders of the past.
No, but it's
so remember the days where for a while there the CFL teams and some of the richer ones could go down to Florida to that IMG Academy and kind of have like the off season, like the OD. Yeah. If it was a level playing field for continuity for a better product on the field when the season started, would you be all in favor of teams being able to do that again, to kind of have that off-season mini camp to get together for 3 or 4 days just to start the process so it doesn't just start in May when everybody shows up at the U of S or wherever training camp happens to be for whatever team they're playing for?
Absolutely. I think it's so helpful to get together with your guys, especially skill position guys, and get some reps in. It's been since October, November since you've been able to get any quality reps with those guys. So to be able to do that in February, March, or April before training camp is very helpful. The only thing about going to Florida is just so expensive. You have to, transfer equipment. You have to have injury waivers, insurance, things that have to all, be in place. So it's not the easiest thing to do financially, but, what I would like to see is even if, teams could rent out indoor facilities in their respective cities and just bring the guys in for a week or two during the off season, I think that could help as well. So because any extra reps you can get with your teammates, it helps. And sometimes you don't have the opportunity to get into training camp and learn a new system. So to do it earlier always is beneficial.
We got about 2 minutes. I don't know if you got another one. My last one, I want to ask you this one. Who was the player that maybe like old school hockey, old school CFL days that came to camp? Maybe we'll go this way. Who was the guy that came to camp always in like the best shape and put everyone to shame?
I just have to go with this guy, Rob Bagg, man. He just works so hard all the time, and it didn't matter. It could be 3 days after the Grey Cup. He was just in the gym. He just always came to camp ready to go, in tip-top shape, never took a rep off. I mean, this guy is just in phenomenal condition. Even to this day, he's still in phenomenal shape. So Rob Bagg, he's the guy that we all looked at and said, man, we got to catch up with Rob, because a lot of us used training camp to get in shape, where Rob would come in ready to go.
It's like the old hockey players. I didn't do anything. Showed up.
Yeah.
So it's funny, on Friday we had a chance to talk to Trevor Harris, and he said that he switched up his diet routine, and he's on a mostly animal-based diet, and he hasn't had a vegetable since last year, only sweet potatoes, because he's trying this whole new thing. So he is like getting himself like super dialed in to be like, and I kept thinking after that, it was about 3 hours later, and we had Pizza Hut that night, and I was like, well, the kids are really enjoying this, and so am I, but I'm not a high-performance athlete. So you know what? I'm going to enjoy this Hawaiian slice and a few more, but I'm not an athlete, so I can do that.
Yeah. There's a lot more research coming out on this carnivore diet and the benefit that it has on athletes. I mean, you know, we're learning that we don't need as many carbs as we thought in the past. And like I said, there's a lot of research behind just meat-based diet. So I think I tried it for a while, about a year or two ago, and I had phenomenal results. So I think Trevor will benefit from it for sure.
After my Waffle House, Raising Cane's, back-to-back Jersey Mikes, I might need to do that. Darian, always great to catch up and chat with you. We'll do it again next Monday.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.